Women, what are some questions you've always wanted to ask men, but were too embarrassed? When you use the toilet, does your weenie just hang into the toilet? Do you rest it on the seat? Do you ever get poop splash on your ween? It hangs. Sometimes a splash hits the balls. Poseidon's kiss they call it. Do you ever worry about what your friends think of the attractiveness of your girlfriend wife? Like, are you ever worried that people you know don't find her good looking or judge you for being with her? This question is obviously coming straight from my insecurities, lol. I actually did have this fear with my last girlfriend. She was a bigger girl and I wasn't really concerned about what they thought, but just didn't want anyone being judgmental toward her. It's hard to explain. I wasn't ashamed of her or anything, just hate the thought of people judging her by her appearance. Does a woman's height matter? What about weight? Is using urinals when they are all full but there's one left? Is it awkward? Do you mind a little hair down there, even if it's nicely trimmed and short? As a tall guy, a woman taller than me would be weird at first but not an issue. Honestly, I think there is no difference between men and women when it comes to their partner's weight. Some people don't care at all, but most people probably have a point where they don't find it particularly appealing. And the hair thing really doesn't matter. I prefer less, but again, it's not an issue. Do guys really appreciate a woman that makes the move? Whether you are newly dating or married for years, I want him to feel wanted by me and I want to convey that. Or do guys feel it could threaten them a little bit? I know it sounds weird and maybe old school, but I have always wondered what the answer is. Thanks. How often do men want to be hugged? Does it feel clingy if a girl offers it every now and then? I don't know how many guys I speak for, but for me, being hugged by a girl you're dating or are close with is like getting permission to relax and be happy. I'm with someone who buys me flowers to make me smile. What would be something I could do similarly for him that is non-sexual that would brighten his day? Compliment him. He may not show it on the outside, but he's giggling and blushing on the inside. What does it feel like to run with no underwear on? Does it just flop around? Does it hurt? Does the bouncing get you hard? It kinda flops around. It doesn't hurt and the bouncing doesn't get me hard. Does what our vaginas look like truly matter to you? Like girls having longer lips and such. I've always felt incredibly self-conscious about guys going down on me, even if guys have never mentioned it before. Only that it looks clean. Is it true that guys generally hesitate or avoid going up to and talking women that are super attractive? I mean, like a 9 or a 10/10? Is attractiveness appearance something that makes you stall when shooting your shot? Serious question, men. Would it bother you if a girl had self-harm scars? How far along in the relationship would you want to know about them? It wouldn't bother me from the perspective of thinking it ugly or off-putting. The only way it might bother me is out of concern for your well-being. We all deserve to be happy and healthy. Do you guys wipe your dong after you go pee? Or do you just shake it, assume it's good, then put it back in your pants? Doesn't that leave a little bit of pee in the tip? Why would you do that instead of just taking a bit of toilet paper and dabbing your ween? I just wring it out like a washcloth. Honestly, how thoroughly do you wipe your butt? What about cleaning it in the shower? And unrelated, how open are you to the idea of prostate massages, any kind of sexual attention being paid to your butthole? If you're straight, do you ever include any of that in masturbation? Would it feel weird, uncomfortable if a partner wanted to? I wipe until I don't see any more poo. Has to be clean, can't stand the idea of rogue poo while walking around. Gross. Also, I really am not into the butt stuff. Don't like anything being inserted into there. Also don't like putting anything into other people's butts either, because of the poo. But everyone's different. What makes you want to commit, be exclusive, or get married? Does it have anything to do with your partner or more of I have to be ready within myself first? With my wife, it wasn't knowing that I wanted her in my life. It was knowing I didn't want a life without her in it. That was definitive, for me. Do you play with your balls like we play with our tea? Like juggle them and stuff? Or is that too painful? What is the action that actually hurts balls? Is there anything you think it compares to in female anatomy? What does it feel like to get hit accidentally? Not kicked purposefully, but like flicked, etc. in the balls. Hi, how are you? Men would be thrilled if a woman initiated a conversation with them. You have zero reason to be embarrassed. Did your friends actually invited me, or are you just being nice to not make me feel left out? Edit. Just context. My boyfriend brings me around his friends all the time and I always have a nice time. They are all really nice to me. I don't really take much space because I'm shy, and also they don't speak the same language as me, lol. Just saw video of guys talking about how much they hate when their friends bring their GFS with them, and it got me thinking, what if they actually do hate me, lol. I invite my wife places I like going because it'd be more fun if she was there, and I'm sure she would have some fun too. Sometimes it's not her crowd, and although it might be kinda fun, it's not exactly her cup of tea, and I've learned to accept that. Other times I would rather be solo, and I try to make that known ahead of time. I would never pity invite someone. Do you use that opening in your boxers briefs to pee, or do you just pull down the top of your boxers briefs? That little opening just doesn't seem that useful. Thank you in advance. I've always wondered if they see our bodies as ugly squishy bread rolls the way we think we look while having sex. Dude, while having sex, many of us will be attracted enough to you to literally lick your butthole. Calm down. I can't think of a question that hasn't been asked already. I just wanted to make it a point to say that I've spent probably 2 hours reading through this thread. To all of you men who have participated, thank you. You've made me laugh, and some of you have honestly made me feel better about myself. You guys are awesome. What do you want us to do when your balls get hit? Do you want us to help rub your back and get you some ice, or should we just do nothing while you're in pain? When the day comes, I'd like an ice cream cone. Are you turned off by stubble, nether regions? It depends on whether or not it's abrasive during sex. What happens to your balls when you run? Are they just banging around? Do they stick between your thighs? Do they end up tucked? I've been dying to know. Thanks. Update. Did not expect this to blow. Thank you for the awards and all of the insightful and valuable information. For most answers I received, I had more questions which were answered before I could even ask them. I can now say that I know what happens to your balls when folks are in motion or stationary. Again, thanks y'all. This had been bugging me for a while, lol. The nutsack isn't always floppy. It scrunches up or loosens. They don't flop when scrunched. Also, underwear keeps it in place. Is it okay for me to give you, while we're strangers, a compliment, even though I'm not trying to flirt or score a date? Or would me complimenting you give you mixed signals? What do you think about C-section scars? I have one and I think it's ugly. It juts out and there's a shelf. I'm otherwise quite fit looking. I'm just self-conscious about it. I have an ugly scar on my stomach from a surgery I had to get as a baby, and another really ugly scar on my shoulder from a different surgery. I'm self-conscious about mine too, but I wouldn't be any less attracted to someone because of a scar. Do y'all like making your dongs do that bouncing thing? Slapping, spinning, bouncing, all of it. My wife pretends to think it's funny at least. What do you want a woman to say to you if she likes you? In terms of confessing her feelings or expressing interest? I'm so dang oblivious and basically never even think a girl might be interested in me. Please be direct and just ask me if I'd like to go on a date. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. Thanks everyone. Y'all are straight up staring at our buttholes while we're doing it doggy style, aren't ya? What happens if there's a hemorrhoid? I'm not. I do take notice of it, but more often I'm watching butt bounce or watching my hand sliding up spines or thighs and such. And if we're already fricking, I don't care what I see down there so long as it isn't something that should have been wiped and flushed. What do you consider a high quality woman? Too afraid to ask because I do not believe I have ever been considered the one. Someone who has her own things going for her, her own friends, hobbies, goals, etc. and takes good care of her own well-being. Do you have to concentrate to CM, or do you have to concentrate not to CM? Or does it depend? For me and several girlfriends, we have to concentrate a lot to actually have an orgasm, but it seems you have to concentrate to not have an orgasm. Am I wrong? Does go both ways. Concentrate not to, but have been times where tired etc and have to actively concentrate to try to. Latter is more rare, but dependent on the guy. A guy friend told me that all guys are capable of turning off their minds. Like, If you had a bad day, you could just shut that off for a moment and distract yourself pretty easily with something else, and that's why men are less likely to constantly talk about their feelings and become emotional. It's accurate for me. I keep my work feelings at work, my home feelings at home, and my social feelings in social settings. It helps every other aspect of my life to not bring work stress home. How uncomfortable is it when you get an erection? Depends. If it's in your pants, kinda, cause it's all squished, else you don't feel it. What are the big signs that a man is dangerous to be around, in YLL's opinion? Like, the signs women might miss, either because we aren't around when men in our lives display them or for other reasons. Be very wary of anyone who isn't respectful of your desires and boundaries, and run from anyone who tried to gaslight you. Is your junk always in the way when you're sitting? Like, does the peen just pick a pant leg? Do your balls feel squished? Is it just sitting there? Okay, this is a question I've literally had for years. Kinda a weird one, but bear with me. If a dude gets a boner while just cuddling or whatever, does that always mean that they are actually in the mood? Like, I always wondered if it ever goes up, but you don't even wanna frick a ha. I never want to assume that a guy actually wants to have sex, just cause his knob does. I'm genuinely confused by penises LMAO. Okay, I feel like some people are misinterpreting my question. I'm aware that random stiffies can come out of thin air, but I'm asking more about whether or not it can happen, and the dude not even be down for it, you know? I have no control over it and try to avoid it coming into play sometimes. I wish, very dearly, that I had control over my boners. To men who spam dong pics at women, no judgment here, but I honestly want to know, what's the best outcome you've ever experienced from doing that? Like, what's the end game there? I always imagined the guys who do that are just hoping to skip the whole dating thing and just frick. I've sent literally one dong pic in my life and it was requested. Just seems rude to me. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.